Ah, yes. You know, every so often we have to take a break from the serious and engage in a bit of shit posting, especially when someone goes absolutely insane for all the world to see. Fun times. And so this debacle was shared to me on X between Vara Dark, entertainment commentator, gaming streamer, and David, I don't know how to pronounce his surname. I don't care to know either. I'm just going to call him Jaffe, because that's what I keep thinking about every time I see his name. So from what I know about him, he's most known for directing Twisted Metal and God of War. So he's past his prime relic trying to retain relevancy by clinging on to past glories. I wonder who else it could possibly be reminding me of. And a few days ago, during a live stream, he gave the most pitiful, cliched game dev take on the tanking failure that is Dragon Age the Veilguard, that no doubt irked the crowd of usuals who make this type of content their bread and butter, and apparently got into a scuffle with Vara. So let's see what he said.
When you say that the gaming community ruined this game's success, I mean, you know, I don't think that's entirely fair, but I think there is a lot of truth to it.
Not really fair, but mostly true. I'll take wank that makes no sense for 500, Bob. Always a very wise move to insult the consumers, isn't it? You do realize the only way a gaming community can render a game bad is if they don't play it because it's arse. Apparently this is news to Jaffe Cake.
Really, at this point, all that gaming community that you're talking about has done is they've made it so they've actually made games worse, which is what they say they're trying to not do.
In case you're wondering, no, he's not going to elaborate on what any of that even means by any stretch of the imagination. Did you really expect him to?
Because they have the charismatic grifters that make the videos that for whatever reason people respond to. People who haven't actually played this game will hate it just because they're sort of told to hate it.
Okay, now that statement alone tells me he's either drowning in lethal levels of insincerity or assumes the audience requires a helmet to access a service running on Wi-Fi. But if you're familiar with these types, the arrogant yet bizarrely disconnected behavior will not seem strange to you. And so he decided to respond to one of Vara's videos on a livestream. Needless to say, it did not go well.
David Jaffe melts down over Veilguard's failure. All right, maybe I did. Let's find out.
Jaffe is salty. David Jaffe is salty that average people can take to social media and voice their opinions, and he is getting angry that companies may start actually listening to gamers after the multiple failures they've had over the years. And now, of course, he is blaming YouTube grifters for killing Dragon Age the Veilguard when it simply was a trash game.
Notice the nod of agreement at the word grifter. Is he going to dispute any of that? No. Listen to this, because this is hilarious.
Okay, so I want to be clear. I've made a video. I even made a follow-up video because I've talked about as I've been playing, and I'm not very far. I mean, I'm far that I can judge it enough, which is 23 hours in, but I think it's like a 40, 60-hour game. But yes, allow me to mansplain to her. Well, I'm not mansplaining other than she's talking about my opinion. So I think that kind of, you know, gives me a pass.
I don't know how the hell that gives you a pass. You're both discussing opinions here, Einstein. And what if your opinions are objectively wank? Food for thought.
So anyway, though, my take on Dragon Age is that there are three things that really harmed it, right? Two of them I would put square in the lap of EA and the current BioWare. One of them is, and again, I am not a big Dragon Age guy. I've only played Inquisition and now
hasn't even played Origins, so he knows nothing about the franchise. Noted.
The writing is aspects of the writing when it comes to the tonality, I think are terrible in Dragon Age. I certainly think the push-up barf scene is terrible. I haven't even gotten to it yet. I just got that character into my party, so I don't know if everybody sees that scene or do you have to make certain choices. But yeah, it's there's some really bad writing in the game as it relates especially to kind of tonality and just being kind of like, you know, weird, just like a young adult fantasy novel.
So even you admit the game is badly written and parts are cringe and weird. Okay, so what exactly separates you from any of the other gamers except your proclivity to feel amorous around rainbows? Anyway, let's see how he uses the word grifter.
But yes, I will call you a grifter, and my definition of grifter I think is correct. If it's the wrong term, educate me. Let me know what term I'm looking for. but is someone who lies in order to make money, basically.
That's called a politician, you dillweed. Secondly, what you're talking about here are opinions, which begs the question, who or what is your arbiter of truth? Because by this metric, you can't even define what a grifter is because your criteria for lying is not concrete. It's completely subjective. Hell, you don't even mention any of the so-called lies. Here's why I hate this politicization bollocks. It destroys the meaning of words. Because let's be real here. This is basically the gaming equivalent of everyone I don't like is a fascist.
And if you are sitting there and you don't really have a lot of nuanced thought about a game that runs for 40 hours,
Ludo 57 joined,
parroting a bunch of shit, I would say that you're grifting. So,
okay, listen here, you stupid asshole. I'm from South Africa, which means I have god-tier pattern recognition. And seeing as you insult Vara for her apparent lack of thinking capacity, allow me to educate your offensively grotesque and ignorant ass, seeing as unlike you, I am a veteran of the Dragon Age series. Except for the last one, which I shan't play for obvious reasons. It's a simple matter of this thing called lore. In Dragon Age 2, the Kunari looked like this. Roided to the gills, a horde of tough bastards, horned warriors galore. Whereas this is a fucking abomination. I don't wish to play an emaciated freak who looks either high as balls or like they're missing a chromosome. If I see several products all repeatedly covered in horse shit, I don't need to sample it to know it's horse shit. And lastly, your definition of grifting was someone who lies to make money. Parroting is not synonymous with peddling a falsehood, you moron. You see, this is why I can't do the gaming content regularly. Can try and spoil the audience maybe once a month with some rage. But every time I peek into this sphere, I'm reminded of the fact that it's full of people thick as porridge.
like if you were watching a real journalist, not that she claims to be, she would say, David Jaffe is a guy who's taken to YouTube or social media a lot in the last couple of years and making it clear just how little or how much it bothers him that gamers' voices matter. For example, did you see this when he said this? Or we can't forget when he said this. Well, you're not going to believe that the old man is doubling down. Here's what he said today on his latest video about Dragon Age Veilguard. That's what you do. That's how you get it done, Vara Dark. But sure, go ahead and just toss out slop without any desire to back it up with facts. Let's continue. Oh, sorry. Let me make sure you can understand it, Vara. Now let's continue.
Given the fact that she's more known and watched than you, trying to give her advice in a condescending manner makes you seem like a massive twat. And by the way, this whinging, hissy bitch fit would be best served at the end of the video if the claims remain unsubstantiated. You're here rambling on and we're not even 60 seconds into a near 10-minute video, you impatient wanker. This is why you watch a video before you react to it, so you can avoid looking like a rank amateur.
And now that, of course, we've seen failure after failure like Concord, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, Dustborn, The Veilguard, it's just infuriating him to an unbelievable degree. And now he's actually going on to blame YouTube grifters for killing this title.
Today in the news, YouTube grifters were found under a bridge. Were they dead? No, they were sucking off a hobo. What? What?
You were nodding in agreement with that earlier on. Let's see what you actually said, you donut.
The charismatic grifters that make the videos that for whatever reason people respond to. I was responding to somebody in the chat asking, did I think that the social media grifter types had harmed and been the cause of Dragon Age Veilguard not doing that well at sales? And so I was responding to a direct question, and my answer is, though, yeah, I think they contributed. So I want to just be clear on that. That's where it came from. I think that the people who have not played the game and think that if they tune into a certain streamer that I would call grifter, I do know what grift means, by the way, but I'll address that in a moment.
No, you don't. You don't use the word for the rest of the damn video. You whine about the tone of the game compared to the rest of the franchise, which you admitted you haven't even played, and you take issue with the people pointing out the propaganda. And never do you bother to explain why we are seeing modern-day slop in a game set in a medieval fantasy setting. But you claim to disagree with people you label conspiracy theorists, yet you don't explain what they think or why. It's 7 minutes of coke polished off with "but my bigots," and that's it.
I'm one of the grifters he's calling out, even though his definition of a grifter is somebody sitting online, making videos, talking about a game, when he's literally doing the same exact thing. Now,
let's be clear. Is that my definition of a grifter? Where are you getting that, Vara Dark, from?
Now hold on, let me play this next part because I want to roast him with his own attempt at humor.
Look. Here's, again, Vera, I'm going to give you a little bit of an education here.
God, you're such a smug prick.
Jaffe's definition of a grifter is literally sitting online talking about games. You don't believe me? Not a problem. Vara Dark here for you with all the facts. Check it out. Here's where he defined grifter 2 years ago. Didn't think we'd find this, did you, Jaffe? But I'm good at my job.
Yes, I am.
And then I go into a clip where I say exactly what she said. I've never defined grifter as that. A grifter is somebody who makes money off people by lying to them. That's what they do. A grifter is not someone who sits in front of a camera and talks about video games, Vara Dark. You just don't know how to do this.
Yeah, keep using that whiny voice when talking about someone whose size and view count dwarfs yours, pal. I'm sure that'll boost your numbers. And trust me, he needs it. And seeing as I'm rather competently skilled in the art of narrative weaving, let me try and piece together this here, seeing as you absolutely suck at this. You said in your own words, a grifter is someone who lies for money. The problem is you never stated what the lies are, and so this claim rings hollow. You also said that people respond to the so-called grifters and they are influencing something, yet you seem to remain stumped as to why. So either these so-called grifters are exceptionally skilled at their craft, being able to grow an audience on a stack of never-ending lies, or you are reeking of disingenuousness and or you're really stupid. Which do you think is more likely? Because my word, if after 10 years you still don't know what irks a gamer, you really are hopelessly irrelevant. So yeah, there you go. That explains her conclusion. Hopefully that cleared that up. You know what he hasn't cleared up? The lies these so-called grifters keep telling that make them so terribly popular. However, what really kicked this gimp into the spotlight lately, naturally for all the wrong reasons, was this.
I was not sexist to Vera. Stop the clowns. I was not. I was mean to her. Trust me, because I was worried because I knew people would think I was.
Oh, I wonder why.
You are in that chair, Vera, because of your hair and your face and your gender.
And all of a sudden they know what a woman is. The tolerant left for you people. Hell, even I don't say that. But hold on, there's something he said earlier which made this even worse.
You sound like somebody who got caught in a... You sound like somebody that was pulled out of a 1940s movie that was told by Louis B. Mayer to do the transatlantic accent because that's how people talk in the movies, and somehow you can't break out of the time loop. I think it's ridiculous the way David Jaffe made this thing, but I'm Vara Dark, reporting.
Ooh, very mature. Keep going.
And do I think Trump's assassination was staged? I don't know, but I'll make a deal with you. If you think that's beyond the pale and hard to believe, I don't know, then, you know, you guys talking about, hell, going back to Barack Obama not being a citizen, or you guys talking about kids going to school and coming home a different sex. You really want to go toe-to-toe with which political party, Vera, offers up a trough of horse shit? Who's got the most horse shit?
This is what we call ideological possession, because the Democrats literally run on social engineering and ignoring every facet of objective reality.
I mean, you're not educated enough. You're not bright enough, Vera, to talk to me or to talk about what I talk about. You're just not. You are not. And I'm going to fucking look. You are a somewhat attractive woman with a really great head of hair. That's why you have an audience. Your voice could literally get Putin to back out of the Ukraine. The Ukraine was a boy band from the 80s. Ukraine, right? You have about as much mental capacity as a spider that I killed in my shower this morning. It's the goddamn truth, Vera.
Okay, let's see if I can sum this up. Earlier, you held up a book explaining how Trump's rallies being political stagecraft is akin to wrestling kayfabe was groundbreaking, which would lead me to conclude you're a political novice, you know nothing about politics. Telling her she needs to read to understand the basics of charisma suggests you have the social skills of an orc. You insulted her voice and said she only has an audience because of her face, hair, and gender. She has the mental capacity of a spider, and you told her to go fuck herself. As you strawman her and called into question the validity of a former president surviving an assassination attempt, and compared that to potentially forged documents. All the while you called her uneducated and not bright enough to talk to you. Delusions of grandeur does not even begin to describe you, Sunshine. You know, given the current state of gaming, the irony of him saying an attractive female will garner an audience will no doubt sail merrily over his head.
Yeah, so like the Popo says you implied that she only has a channel and audience because of her hair and her looks, and because she's a woman. That's not sexist, that's not misogynistic.
Maybe that'll be why. And he didn't imply it, he outright said it. But let's hear one last stupid thing from this dork.
His definition of a grifter is somebody sitting online, making videos, talking about a game, when he's literally doing the same exact thing. Now, I live stream.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear, because her saying that I use that definition is not accurate, because now she's going on to saying I actually played the games and streamed them. I'm like, great. But if you played the games and then you are manipulating data you have in order to make money, you fit the definition of a grifter.
How in fuck's name did you get to that conclusion? How the hell do you manipulate data in a live stream, you twat? That is the most transparent thing any gaming critic can do. You know, I'll end with this. I'm not exactly a fan of the people whining about DEI all the damn time, and yet still they buy the games and play it for an audience. That does seem ever so slightly hypocritical. Now, with that being said though, I'm gonna steelman this because I'm such a charming gentleman. I'll try and find the good in anything. Unless you're a Son Piker, in which case you can fuck off. As much as I may find it hypocritical, let's be honest, a handful of big content creators buying this is like chucking a pebble in the ocean. It's not gonna stuff any developers' coffers anytime soon. However, it does rather tickle me to know when these plebs look up the inferior slop they crank out, it's played and dominated by streamers who make them cope and seethe. And so it does bring me a smidgen of joy knowing it really pisses off a whole horde of rejects who I can't bloody stand. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.